You're in a stadium, 60,000 people, same city, half red, half black. One goal, and red erupts, screaming, hugging strangers. Black collapses into rage. 90 minutes of genuine hatred. Then the whistle blows. Everyone goes home. Tomorrow they'll work together, live on the same street, forget the hatred ever existed.
What just happened here?
Not football, something much older. The invisible architecture of every human society. It's not just sports. Think about the new colleague who joins. Suddenly, the other department looks different. The political party whose supporters start to seem threatening. The neighborhood that defines itself against the one across the road. The pattern is always the same. A line gets drawn. Us forms on one side, them on the other. And once that line exists, how you interpret words, who you choose to trust, how much pain you're willing to inflict, everything changes. Why?
In 1970, Henri set out to find the absolute minimum required to create this divide.
He took complete strangers and split them into groups based on which painter they preferred. Klee or Kandinsky. No shared history, no competition. Then he asked them to allocate money between anonymous members of their own group and the other group. The result? People consistently favored their own group, even when it meant everyone received less money overall. Even when the groups had existed for barely 5 minutes. Mere category membership was enough to trigger favoritism. Tajfel had found the simplest possible trigger.
This became social identity theory.
Your group becomes part of who you are. Its status becomes your status. Its threat becomes your threat. Defending the group becomes self-defense.
But Tajfel showed us how the process begins. He didn't show us where it leads.
In 1954, Muzaffar Sharif took 22 11-year-old boys to Robbers Cave State Park. Similar families, no existing rivalries. The researchers divided them into 2 teams, the Rattlers and the Eagles. Neither group knew the other existed. Then Sharif introduced competition, tug of war, baseball, prizes for winners. Within days, name-calling, flag-burning, cabin raids, refusing to share a dining hall. Children cooperative inside their group now described the other as sneaky and dirty.
No one told them to hate. Us plus them, plus competition produced hostility automatically. Then Sheriff asked, "Can this be reversed?"
He staged crises neither group could solve alone. The water supply broke. The truck got stuck. The boys worked together, Rattlers and Eagles pulling the same rope, fixing the same pipe. Hostility dropped. Friendships crossed group lines. By the end, the Rattlers bought malts for everyone, Eagles included. Same boys, same groups. Situation changed, and them dissolved back into us.
So what's happening inside the brain? 2 mechanisms.
First, within 200 milliseconds of seeing an out-group face, your amygdala activates, before conscious thought even enters.
This reaction runs deeper than belief.
For most of human history, encountering strangers from another group carried real risk, and the brain learned to react fast. Second, oxytocin doesn't simply boost trust. Karsten Dedrew demonstrated it. Increases trust selectively toward your group, while amplifying defensive aggression toward outsiders. Loyalty and hostility share the same chemical mechanism.
Not stale upward.
When uncertainty enters the picture, economic collapse, social disruption, external threat, this entire machinery intensifies. Us tightens, them widens. The neural architecture that evolved to respond to danger does exactly what it was built to do. Find your group, trust fewer people, guard the boundary. Every crisis throughout history reproduces this pattern. Groups under pressure don't expand trust, they shrink it. Stability softens boundaries. Instability produces walls.
Here's what this means for you, right now.
That colleague who seemed reasonable yesterday but suddenly feels like an obstacle.
Your brain updated its map of who belongs on your side, and you probably didn't notice.
That news story that made you feel a flash of contempt for strangers you've never met.
Your amygdala responded before your prefrontal cortex had time to evaluate the evidence.
That political division that feels existential, as though the other side has lost its mind.
Neither side is insane. The same instincts pointed in different directions. But Sheriff's experiment reveals something. Tafel's experiment didn't. The line can be erased.
Not through persuasion, not through arguments or moral appeals. Through shared problems that demand shared solutions. When them joins us to solve what neither can solve alone, the boundary dissolves.
This fundamentally changes how we should understand division. There is no innate evil lurking in human nature.
What we have is a brain that evolved to draw lines quickly and trust a narrow circle, because that kind of mind survived, while others didn't.
So the next time you feel us versus them rising at a game at work, during an election, don't suppress it. Notice it. See it clearly.
That rush of solidarity toward your side, that flash of suspicion toward theirs.
That's millions of years of evolutionary history expressing itself in a fraction of a second. A color, a label, a team. Sometimes that's enough to create us and them. And sometimes all it takes to reverse it is a problem neither side can solve alone. In a goal they can only reach together.